Hello and welcome to tonight's programme.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Here's our top stories.
The medical miracle made in Manchester. How little Oliver's life has been transformed by a big breakthrough in gene therapy.
We're in Runcorn, the reform seat, where the chips seem well and truly down for Labour, unless Chancellor Rachel Reeves can somehow curry favour with the voters in her budget on Wednesday.
How just surviving next year is the goal for the creative football project in Blackburn.
It's been a wet and wild 24 hours for parts of the northwest, but what do we have in store for the rest of the week? I'll have the full forecast later.
And I'm live at Old Trafford ahead of Manchester United against Everton in the Premier League as both clubs look to take advantage from weekend defeats for their neighbours and rivals City and Liverpool.
So first tonight, the medical miracle made possible by doctors in Manchester that appears to have transformed a little boy's life.
Yeah, Oliver Chu is 3 and from California. He has a rare and degenerative life-limiting condition called Hunter syndrome, which causes damage to his body and brain.
But thanks to experts from the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital, Oliver and his family now have hope in the form of a revolutionary gene therapy. Anna Yosef's here. Anna, what can you tell us about this?
Hi, Rob. Well, Oliver was born with this rare, devastating genetic condition, but the future now looks very different for him and his family after he became the first person in the world to receive this groundbreaking STEM therapy. It's treatment that was developed right here in the northwest in Manchester. Hunter syndrome, it causes progressive damage to the body and the brain, and in the most severe cases, patients rarely reach even their 20th birthday. Some of the medics that I've spoken to have said that the effects are a bit like a type of childhood dementia. It's a cruel, cruel condition. Well, due to a faulty gene before this treatment, Oliver was unable to produce a crucial enzyme for keeping cells healthy, but it appears that medical staff at the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital have successfully halted the disease by altering Oliver's cells using gene therapy. Now, the family have been travelling backwards and forwards from California for the treatment, but a year on, Oliver is absolutely astounding doctors with his progress, and he now appears to be developing normally. In fact, he's actually been able to come off all the treatment because this gene therapy is working so well. This is what one of his doctors had to say today.
It's really, really exciting because it's great to see that the treatment seems to be working quite well in Oliver, and we are preparing the treatments for 4 more patients with the same disease. And also for several other rare diseases that have been treated at Great Ormond Street and at Manchester. And the whole gene therapy field is just exploding at the moment. There's so many different ways that you can use gene therapy for different diseases and different conditions.
I mean, it's just astonishing, isn't it, Anna? What could this mean for other children with the condition?
Well, while the doctors say that it is still early days, they're hoping that this could be a permanent fix for Hunter syndrome. The Chu family say that they will be eternally grateful to the team in Manchester for allowing Oliver to join the trial. And they're also hoping that his older brother, Skylar, who's 5, who's also got the condition, may be able to have the treatment too. This is Oliver's father speaking to us today.
Yeah, the medical team was excited. We were excited. I mean, it was just, like I said, like the whole time since diagnosis has been emotional roller coasters of up and downs. And, you know, at that time, we were just, you know, wow, like this is the most amazing news, you know. So him being able to produce his own enzymes to be off infusions, you know, like what they've been working on for 15 years. I mean, him being the first patient and it being successful is just massive, not just for us, but for other Hunter's patients and, you know, other pharmaceutical companies, anybody that's working on treatments for Hunters or any other MPS.
Certainly, you know, news of this trial and its success today will be giving hope to the families of those who are living with this devastating and debilitating condition.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna, thank you so much.
And you can find out more about that remarkable life-changing work by medical researchers in Manchester on the ITV Evening News right after this programme.
Well, next tonight, Wednesday's budget is being billed as make or break for Chancellor Rachel Reeves and Labour, with the government seemingly unable to stop the rise of Reform UK in the opinion polls.
And nowhere more so than Runcorn and Helsby, the seat which Labour lost to Reform's Sarah Pochin in a by-election in May.
Yeah, so we headed there to see what people think the Chancellor should deliver in less than 48 hours' time.
Lunchtime in Runcorn, where voters have lost their appetite for the Labour Party. The town switched to Reform UK in a by-election earlier this year, and business owners are wondering whether the Chancellor's upcoming budget will dish up enough reasons to win them back.
It was a surprise to me that Labour lost the seat, because Runcorn's very much a working class town, but I think people are a bit fed up. They want a bit of change.
At Neptune's Fish Bar, they've had to cut back on staff and want to see the government provide more help with things like energy bills, so families have something left to spend on the town's high streets.
Fish has gone from £65, £70 to £100 a box now. It's quite the jump. And we're trying to keep our costs down for our customers. So we're taking a bit of a hit ourselves, but to still get the custom to come in, because if it goes too much, people can't afford it.
It gives a flavour of why the upcoming budget is so important. Out on the streets of Runcorn, people tell us they need to feel better off before they can believe in mainstream politics again.
I don't think Labour's had a chance to correct everything, because the Conservatives left it all in a mess. And I know they've got to catch up, but it's just rubbing people up the wrong way all the time.
The false promises, they tell you one thing, do another thing. Yeah.
And we were always Labour, weren't we?
Yeah, my dad turned his grave, he knew I wasn't voting Labour.
There's a lot more they could be doing to help our own people, so they could be doing more to help families who are working with children, childcare, doing more for mental health.
Unless they do something for the low-paid people, the ones that are on the streets, all this, we're not going to get anywhere.
Today, the government insisted the budget will bring down the cost of living, promising sunnier days ahead.
And we are a government that acts in the interest of business, of the people who work for business, and for the overall economic growth that means that people can look forward to a better life into the future than the one they're having today.
But as the Chancellor picks over her options for the budget, back in Runcorn, one sector warns it's make or break. Andy Shaw is a family farmer with a shed packed full of potatoes he can't get a fair price for.
The value of the potatoes that sat in the shed is around about £80,000 that should be in my bank account. Really, really gut-wrenching. The stress it puts on myself, my wife, she runs the office, my mum and dad.
Farmers like Andy say their growing costs have spiralled far beyond their profits. And with new fertiliser and inheritance taxes on the horizon, they want the Chancellor to protect the industry.
If they want to import everything and close the door on agriculture in this country, then tell us and do it now. They can't keep just using us as the backup. It's like, well, if we can't get it from anywhere else, we've got our own. But if we can buy it somewhere cheaper, we'll buy it somewhere cheaper. And that's what the governments have got to stop now.
Across Runcorn, the challenges facing this government are clear. The Chancellor's promised a fair plan to tackle them. But with Labour's political grip on the North West starting to slip, the stakes are high and rising higher. Leisha McNally, ITV News.
Yeah, not long to wait till Wednesday's budget. Well, let's take a look at some more of the day's news now. And a police officer's denied causing death by careless driving after a young woman was killed in Liverpool on Christmas Eve in 2022. University student Rachel Moore was struck by a Merseyside police car in the Kensington area of the city. She was walking home from her job as a carer at the time. PC Scott Thompson was charged last week following an investigation by the police watchdog. He pleaded not guilty and the case was adjourned until January.
A former soldier from Greater Manchester who's facing extradition in connection with the alleged murder of a woman in Kenya has been denied bail. The body of 21-year-old Agnes Wanjiru was found near a British Army base in 2012. Robert James Purkis has told Westminster magistrates he doesn't consent to his extradition to the African nation. He was remanded in court until a further hearing on the 9th of December.
controversial plan to build a holiday park at a famous Cumbrian beach has been refused by council planners following uproar from the local community. The holiday resort at Ronhead near Askham in Furness would have had lodges, motorhome pitches and various office and facility buildings. But it sparked anger from residents who set up the Save Ronhead group to raise concerns about wildlife, damage to the coastal landscape and geodiversity.
Now to a new report into an illness which claims the lives of 33 men every single day in this country, because still for too many it's being diagnosed too late for them to be helped.
Yeah, we're talking about prostate cancer, and the same report also says that men in the advanced stages of the illness aren't getting the care they need and deserve.
It's estimated almost 5,000 men a year in the northwest are diagnosed with prostate cancer, and almost 30% of those diagnosed here die from it, which indicates the cancer's been found too late.
Well, nationally, 12% of men are still being diagnosed once their cancer has already spread, and less than half of those with incurable cancer are receiving the recommended treatments which could extend their lives.
All figures which have led to calls today for men to know the risk factors and what their rights are when asking for screening. Here's oncologist Professor Alison Birtle from the Rosemere Cancer Centre in Lancashire.
If you've got a family history, or if you've got if you're a black man, then you're more at risk. And so you can have a blood test. You can ask for a blood test. Every man is allowed to do that. And if you go and you're getting the knockback at your doctors, please ask to see somebody else, because that is your right to do that.
Yeah, some great advice there. And joining us now is a man who's defying the odds, having been diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer in 2017. Tony Collier from Stockport, welcome to Granada Reports. First of all, 8 years on after being diagnosed, how are you doing?
I'm doing remarkably well, but I'm one of the very lucky men, and lots of people I've lost over the last 8.5 years. We got to know each other through our mutual illness, have not been as lucky as me, so I feel very blessed. I'm very glad to be here and see some more amazing things happen in my life, like 3 more grandchildren came into my life since my diagnosis, so I feel very lucky, thank you.
And you are looking fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are. Those unlucky men, why are the statistics so bad? Why are their lives being impacted so badly here?
Well, I think first of all, we don't have a screening programme for prostate cancer yet in the UK, and that means more men are being diagnosed too late than many of those could be avoided with a screening programme. But then in addition to that, many men are not then getting the standard of care that's appropriate. So we get this situation where men diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer, nearly 50% of men are not getting the best standard of care. Wow. And that's even worse for older men. So we need to do better at making sure men get the best possible care, because living with advanced stage prostate cancer is not a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Why do you think it is?
I think a lot of it is because some healthcare professionals are maybe not completely up to date. I think with some of the older men, it may be because they're more frail and comorbidities. But I think what we need to make sure is that men are able to make an informed decision in a shared decision-making process with the healthcare professionals. So we always urge healthcare professionals to talk to their patients, to talk about what options are available, to make sure that the best care is given, that's the most appropriate care for that particular man.
Former Prime Minister Lord Cameron's revealed today he's been treated for prostate cancer. I mean, it can affect anyone, but the outcomes are very different, aren't they, depending on your social status, where you live?
Yeah, it's amazing that, unfortunately, areas of high social deprivation or areas of lots of black ethnicity, black men fare much worse with prostate cancer, are doing less well. And this is because at the moment we have this really stupid position where you have to ask for a PSA blood test, and you need to then make an informed decision whether to have that test or not. Now the big problem with that is you've got to be aware that you've got to ask for the test in the first place. And then unfortunately some GPs are still acting as barriers to testing.
And do you think people don't know that the test is out there, the test is available in the first place?
I think that's the case, certainly. I think we have lots of awareness. Obviously, David Cameron's diagnosis has raised awareness to Chris Hoy and lots of other celebrities. We need to really make sure that that awareness pays dividends, and more men being tested because of awareness is excellent. But actually, we're still going to have these areas where men do less well. We have a situation in the northwest where 17% of men diagnosed with prostate cancer are diagnosed when it's too late. That's 35% in Scotland. It's only 12% in London. So we need to make sure we're doing better and we get fairer care across the whole of the UK.
And Tony, just before we go, and we know by the time you get symptoms, quite often it's too late. So what would your advice be to anyone watching this?
My advice is if you're in the risk groups, which is men over 50, black men over 45 and men with a family history over 45, please, please, please ask your GP for a PSA blood test and don't take no for an answer.
That's really brilliant advice. And Tony, we wish you all the very best. As I said, you're looking fantastic and long may that continue. Tony Collier, many thanks.
Thank you. Right, there are plenty of reasons to stay with us here on Granada Reports this evening.
Oldham's running man is at it again. Rugby league legend Kevin Sinfield tells us why he's going back on the road for another marathon challenge.
And we can expect another chilly night tonight, but temperatures will be on the up to end the week. I'll have all the details in the forecast in a few minutes.
And here's what's to come next on the ITV Evening News with Charlotte.
Coming up at 6:30, 4 Northamptonshire police officers should face misconduct hearings for their handling of abuse claims from a young woman later found dead in a car boot. That's according to the police watchdog. Harshita Brella's family say her life could have been saved if she'd been listened to. ITV News reveals the extent of teenage crime in a special report from the frontline of police efforts on Britain's streets. And the music legend Jimmy Cliff, who helped turn reggae into a global phenomenon, has died, aged 81. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now to an organisation in Blackburn that helps people with mental health and other issues that may have to close for good if it can't raise the funds it needs to keep going. Creative Football first started in 2009 and provides a valuable service to those who are struggling.
But now they're struggling themselves and they may have to close in 2 months' time unless more cash can be found. Tim Scott reports.
Walking football on a chilly morning in Blackburn. This session is run by community interest company Creative Football, who are currently supporting around 300 people a week.
We initially used football as a way of supporting people who found it difficult to engage in more traditional services around their mental health or around addiction.
Paul and the staff here come from a mental health background, and their sessions promote well-being and social inclusion for people with disabilities, autism and mental health conditions. Amanda Southworth was struggling with depression after she gave up her job to look after her daughter. Creative Football has given her a lifeline.
It's just not just about football, it's somewhere like for people to socialise, because so many people now just isolate themselves. They stay indoors, they don't know where to go, and then it takes a lot of time for certain services to be available for you. Whereas here, it's straight away, you can come, same day, you can just turn up and they'll accept you.
But now Creative Football is in trouble. Its funding is running out and it's struggling to raise the cash to keep going.
There are just so many organisations competing for the same amount of money. The same pots of money. If this service wasn't here, then that isolation kind of creeps in again, and that would be devastating for many people.
Rhys McDonald's is a recovering alcoholic who relies on Creative Football for support.
And what will it mean for you if this place does go under?
It will majorly impact my life. I am really, really worried that I don't know what I'm going to do with my time. Because obviously I'm still in the stages of trying to stay sober. Obviously it's really difficult for me. I have this place to come down where I talk to people, I get to play football. If I lose all that, I'm going to be back in my flat, isolated, on my own, with nowhere to go. And it really, really scares me that I'm going to lose that.
Creative Football have until the end of January to find the £50,000 they need to stay afloat. They're hoping a local business or philanthropist will step up to help. If they fail, then their invaluable work will end and the people who rely on them will be left to fend for themselves. Tim Scott, ITV News, Blackburn.
Yeah, and we wish them all the very best. And there's details about their fundraising efforts to save creative football in Blackburn on our website. That's at itv.com/Granada.
Time for sport now, and it is a big night in the Premier League with all eyes on Old Trafford. Here's Mike.
Yeah, that's right. North-West clash tonight as Manchester United take on Everton, and there's a lot at stake for both sides. A win for United could see them climb into the Premier League's top 4. 3 points for Everton would see them move above Liverpool in the table. David Chisnall is live at Old Trafford for us tonight. David, it's a game with special significance for both managers.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. Tonight marks a first return to Old Trafford for David Moyes in his second spell as the Everton manager. Tonight also marks the 1-year anniversary since Ruben Amorim's first game in charge at Old Trafford and as the Manchester United boss. Of course, the first game was actually away. It was away at Ipswich, wasn't it? But, well, after their worst top-flight season in 50 years, things are starting to turn around for United. They come back off the international break unbeaten in 5 games, having won their last 4 games here at Old Trafford. And ahead of this one tonight, well, Amorim has been reflecting back on that first game a year ago and also been talking about how his team has changed.
Was that feeling of yes, he's the best league in the world, he's maybe the best club in the world, but at the same time it's a big job. In that point we suffered a lot last year, so we have to take that in account and to play every game like it's the last one or the first one. But of course, if you ask me, I expect a team with more control, more dominant, playing a better football, and the most important thing, more competitive in every way.
Well, like United and Everton are having a turnaround after really getting around their struggles that they've had in recent seasons. Of course, David Moyes is back at the helm at Everton as well, and he was also in charge here at Manchester United for 10 months, remember, after he replaced Sir Alex Ferguson after he first left Everton back in 2013.
It's a great football club. I've been back many times with West Ham and different teams all through. Never been easy. The whole time to go back to Old Trafford and get results, always been a tough place to go. My early years here when we were up against Sir Alex's team was always really difficult, the teams they had. How have I changed? Probably mellowed a little bit with age, but still out there fighting, trying to win every game and preparing as well as I've ever done.
Well, as well as the football tonight, tributes will also be paid to the former Stone Roses guitarist Manny, who sadly died last week. A flag and banners will be displayed rather fittingly ahead of kick-off, and as the teams walk out, as they always do here at Old Trafford, to his band song, This Is The One.
Yeah, that will be quite a moment. David, at Old Trafford, thank you very much indeed. Well, ex-Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has apologised after confronting a camera operator at Newcastle. It happened at the end of Saturday's Premier League game at St James's Park, which City lost 2-1. It wasn't captured by TV cameras. Speaking today, Guardiola said he was embarrassed and ashamed.
I feel embarrassed, ashamed when I see it. I don't like it. I apologise for the camera after 1 second. So I am who I am. Even 1,000 games, I'm not a perfect person. I make a huge mistake, so it's not about that, but I don't regret. What is for sure, I defend my team and my club.
Liverpool manager Arne Slot says he takes full responsibility for the club's miserable run of results.
I'm responsible for the current losses. When you are responsible when you're winning, but you're also responsible when you are losing. To have the results we have, that is far from good enough, and I'm responsible for that.
Well, meanwhile, it's 3 defeats in a row for Burnley. A 2-0 loss at home to Chelsea leaves them next to the bottom of the table. Well, let's move into the Football League and a memorable fight back by Ryan Lowe's Wigan Athletic. 18-year-old substitute Harrison Batoni scored with his first touch in league football. He scored a second as well in the 2-1 win at Wimbledon. There was late drama in Blackpool's match at Leyton Orient. Ashley Fletcher scoring in the 94th minute for a 1-1 draw. In League Two, Fleetwood Town continued their great home run. It's 10 games without defeat now. They beat Shrewsbury by 3-1. Oldham Athletic continued to climb the table. They beat Newport County 3-0 at Boundary Park. Promotion hopefuls Crewe Alexandra had to settle for a point in an entertaining match against Chesterfield. It finished 3-3. A draw also for Tranmere Rovers, 2-2 against MK Dons. A frustrating result as Rovers had led 2-0 at half-time. And Accrington Stanley also picked up a point. They drew 1-1 away to Crawley Town. In rugby union, England head coach Steve Borthwick has defended Sale's Tom Curry after he was accused of being a bully. Argentina head coach Felipe Contepomi claimed Curry pushed him in the tunnel after yesterday's international at Twickenham, which England won 27-23. Borthwick described Curry as very respectful and said his character was unquestionable.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsor of the Granada Sport Report.
And finally, he's done it again. Yet another title for Luke Littler. The new world #1 continued his incredible year by winning the Players' Championship finals in Minehead. Luke, who of course is from Warrington, beat Stockport's Nathan Aspinall in the final to secure his 6th major title of 2025. Less than 2 weeks to go now to the World Championships at Alexandra Palace. It won't surprise you to hear Luke is the red-hot favourite. Nobody's going to beat him.
What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise.
Shocks there.
Every night.
It's unreal.
We've only got another 20, 30 years of this.
Thank you, Mike.
Finally tonight to the former Rugby League star and proud Alderman Kevin Sinfield, who's pretty much devoted his retirement to one amazing cause.
Yeah, he's already completed a number of gruelling challenges to raise money and awareness for research into motor neuron disease, which claimed the life of his friend and teammate Rob Burrow.
And on the 1st of December, he's starting another one, running 7 ultra marathons in 7 days.
The reason this is called 7 in 7 Together is because we want to bring people together, and that MD community means a lot. And we've seen that over the last 5, that by getting that community together, they're sharing something unique and special, and it gives us an opportunity to show everybody how important they are, how much they're loved, how much they're cared for. We've seen the best of the UK and Ireland over the last 5 years. It's been so inspiring and given us so much energy to keep going.
Yeah, we wish him well with that. Here's Joe with the weather.
Mum, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. A chilly feel to the start of the week weather-wise. Temperatures will gradually lift as we approach the weekend, but before that, perhaps turning a little bit more unsettled. Having said that, tomorrow will be our sunniest day of the week, with some chilly conditions but beautiful sunshine on offer. Back to the details. We're just escaping low pressure for tomorrow, so a brief window. Things will be dry, but then waiting in the wings out to the west, some rain that will move through to start Wednesday, and then that heralds the start of something more unsettled and showery over the coming days. Back to this evening, a few showers will feed through, but increasingly dry conditions across the northwest of England and the Isle of Man before dawn. Could be a few icy stretches, maybe a touch of frost in a few spots. Still that rather cold northerly wind, and temperatures inland hovering just above freezing overnight tonight. Mostly dry start and clear and cold tomorrow morning. The sun will be up at 7:55, setting tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Now for tomorrow, a cold start to the day, plenty of sunshine on offer, very small chance of a shower for eastern areas, perhaps the Pennines, but for most of us, a dry day to come. Plenty of unbroken sunshine. We still have that nagging, rather chilly wind though, so 7 or 8 degrees will feel a few degrees colder than that tomorrow afternoon. As we approach tomorrow night, cloud begins to build from the west, and to start the day on Wednesday, rain pushes through, followed by showers into the afternoon. You'll notice a bump up in temperatures from Thursday towards the weekend, back up to daytime double figures, but it looks unsettled, winds picking up a touch, and showers to end this week for most of us. Bye-bye.
Cleaned up well.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks, Sharon. Now, before we go, we may be on the countdown to Christmas, but already attention is turning to next summer's festival season.
Yeah, it's been announced Canadian crooner Michael Bublé is the Friday night headliner at next year's 15th Lytham Festival. He's only doing 3 UK mainland shows next summer, so get a ticket if you want, if you're a fan.
Yeah, get it in your diary. Tickets go on general sale on Friday. From all of us here, a very good night and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.